We're going to be looking at the Chapter 2 EddieB Excel spreadsheet. So what you have here is you have a Eddie Bauer shopping spree, and you're going to be calculating the total cost for your bill. In other words, how much are you paying for all of these items? And then, like a lot of stores currently do, you're going to be able to get points. So it tells you over here in the directions, a clothing retailer gives you 10 points for every $1 you spent. So if I spend $1, I get 10 points. $2, I get 20 points. So we're going to calculate how many points that I have. And then for all of the points that I get, for every 2,550 points that I get, they're going to give me a $15 gift certificate. So then we're going to figure out, based on our shopping spree, how many dollars in gift certificates that I'm going to get. So let's look at the instructions first and see what they have to say. So remember, the instructions are located in this tab at the bottom. So when I click on the instructions, you've got your EddieB file open. You're calculating the total cost of the polo shirts. Fill in cell E7 down the column to E16 and format these cells as currency. All right, so we're going to look at this. So how do I calculate the total cost? So I bought 3 polo shirts. They were $50 each. So what I want to do is I want to say $50 times 3, and that tells me how much I spent on those polo shirts. But remember, again, like we've talked about in the other sheets, we always want to use cell references. So the 50 is located in cell D7, and the 3 is located in cell C7. So that's what I want to type here. I don't want to type 50 times 3. I want to type C7, 7 times D7, so that I'm coming up with the actual value, but I could change this. Maybe I decided just to buy 2 polo shirts instead of 3, or I decided, or they weren't $50, next time I went they were $40, and I want the spreadsheet to do the work, not me. So as expected, I spent $150 on the polo shirts. Now for the points, for every $1 I spent, I get $10 in points. So if I spent $1, I get 10 points. $2, I get 20 points. So basically, I'm saying the dollar amount times 10 will tell me how many points that I got. 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. $3 times 10 is 30. So it's the dollar amount times 10. So where's my dollar amount located for the polo shirts? The dollar amount is located in E7. So I don't want to say dollar here. I want to say, I want to say E7. So then that's going to take the dollar amount that I got and multiply it by 10 to figure out how many points I get. So let's talk about our formatting. The cells in E7 should be formatted as currency. So E7 is the 150, should be formatted as currency. That looks good. Okay. The values, then it says calculate the total number of points and fill it down. It should be a number with 0 decimal places. So this is not a currency amount, it's a number. So I want it to be formatted as a number with 0 decimal places. So it is going to round off in some cases. So like this $59.99, I might end up with 60 points or something, or 600 points, but that's okay. All right, so now what I want you to do is take a minute and fill these formulas down for the rest of the chart and try and use your fill option. All right, so now we're going to continue. Notice a couple of things, like this one right here, I had 119.98, but notice it gave me 1,200 points. So there may be some rounding issues, but that's not a problem. You can just keep going with that. So our next step is to find the totals. So I need to find the total amount spent and the total number of points. So remember, you can use your sum formula for that. We don't want to make things hard. So we're going to do equals sum parentheses, and then we're going to highlight from here to here. Okay, so that's going to find the sum of those dollar amounts for me. So I want you to do the same thing and find the sum of the number of points. All right, once you find that sum, remember to make sure that it's formatted correctly, so do that. So let's look at our instructions again. So what we have done is in E18, we calculated the total of all the items. We did that. In F18, we calculated the total of all the points. We've done that. So in cell F20, use the int function to calculate the number of gift certificates you will get from the order. Format cell F20 as a number with no decimal places. So let's look at this. So 16,790 points. So let's make a little note, a little chart over here. So 2550 points is going to give me 1 certificate. Okay, and I'm getting this information from my chart up here. It says 2,550 points equals 1 certificate. Okay, worth $15. So 2,550 gives me 1 certificate. So 2,550 times 2 will give me 2 certificates. So this would equal 5,100. That'll give me 2 certificates. So if I add another 150 to that, right, and I do 2,550 times 3, right? So 7,650 points will give me 3 certificates, right? But if I have 7,700, right, that doesn't mean I'm going to get a 4th certificate. I haven't earned enough points. So I'm not going to get like 3.1 certificates. So what we want to do is we want to use what they call an int function. So how do we figure this out? So 2550 divided by 2550 gives me 1. 5,100 divided by 2550 gives me 2. So I'm going to use that formula here. So let's just pretend for a second. Let's say that it was $3,000. 3,000 points gave me a point. And that means this would be 6,000. That means this would be 9,000. So how would I figure out my formula? I would take the number of points divided by how many points I had to get. Right? So I would take 6,000 divided by 3,000. Right? So let's pretend it's 3,000. I would take the value here, which is 1679, and divide it by 3,000 if it was 3,000 points, and that would give me how many certificates. So how does this int function work? The int function works by changing this slightly. I'm going to shift out to my formulas. Okay, it changes this slightly, and instead of just doing this, I'm going to use an int function. And I'm going to do the answer here divided by the number of points. So what happens is, instead of giving me the 5.9 that I had there a minute ago, it just gives me 5. Okay. Now, so I didn't mean to cut it off. So I used 3,000, but it's not 3,000, right? So you need to use the correct value for that formula. So take a second and use the correct value and calculate the gift certificates. Okay, so once you've got the correct number of gift certificates, each certificate is worth $15. So that means this 6 certificates that I got, I can multiply that by $15 to figure out the value of my certificates. So I want you to do your formula in cell F21. And let's see what we talk about for formatting. In F21, it should be formatted as currency with no decimal places. Okay? So I want you to calculate the value of the gift certificates. Alright, so I've got the value of my gift certificates now, and I need to do my last step here. So let's look at what we've got. So we used the Inf function. We formatted as a number with no decimal places. Let's make sure. So we've got a number with no decimal places here. All right, and then we calculated the value of our gift certificates, and it's currency with 0 decimal places. So we have currency, and I know it's currency because it's got a $sign in front of it, and no decimal places. All right, and our last step, it says calculate the amount of money spent for every $1 of gift certificates earned. Format cell I-28 as currency. So here's what we have to do here. I need to figure out a ratio for $1. So it says the ratio of money spent to the value of the gift certificates. So where's my money spent? I spent $1,678.97. My gift certificates are worth $90. So the ratio of value spent to gift certificates is, a ratio is always a fraction, the 167897, over 90. So this is a fraction, right? Okay, so this is just a fraction right here. It's this number divided by this number. That's all a ratio is. So anytime you see the word ratio, all we're talking about is just simply a fraction, right? So you're going to do this calculation, but I want to do it down here, and I want it to be able to work every time. I don't want to put it in my calculator and use it. So where is the 1678 located? The 1678 is located in E18. So this is E18. And where is the 90 located? The 90 is located in F21. So when I type my formula here, I want to use the E18 and the F21. And what am I doing with those two things? I'm dividing. So I want to write a ratio with those two things divided. And I want to format it as a currency with 2 decimal places. So I'm going to pause and let you do that. Okay, so after doing that, you end up with this ratio, and you have to make sure that you're using formulas. Doing division with the E18 and the F21. That's all a ratio is division. So that's what we're doing. The second portion of that statement where it says, with the second quantity scaled to 1, is basically it's like setting up a proportion. But we don't need to worry about that because second quantity scaled to 1 is what we ended up doing when we divided those two things. So I hope this helps. Look this over and make sure that you're using cell references and formulas, and make sure you're checking your formatting carefully.